Hi, thank you for joining. My name is Crystal Olivarria, and I'm the founder and CEO of Career Conversationalist. And parents hire me to help their child transition successfully from school to the workforce. And today we're here to talk about our new mini series, which is 5 reasons kids fail to transition successfully from high school to college. And so what this is a lot of times kids are going through high school and parents are like, my kid doesn't need career coaching, at least from what I've experienced in talking to families, because they're like, my kid's doing well, they're taking all these AP courses or honor courses, they're getting good grades, they have friends, they have a social life, they're active, they play sports. And parents are like, my kid's on track. Like the school system's encouraging my kid to go to college, and therefore they have a high school guidance counselor, and everything should be going great. And then their kid goes to college, and it's like, what happened? Like, I don't understand. Like, my kid, they don't get it. They're like, my kid shut down emotionally. I don't know why they're not successful. Like, what happened? And that's when they call me and they're like, well, I need my kid to get on the fast track because college is costing me a couple $1,000 and I don't have time for my kid to figure it out. Or my kid just changed their career major, their college major. And like, my kid's not even positive that that's what they want to do. Like, can you help me? Like, this is a major problem. And as all that tension builds up and it explodes, and I want to prevent that from happening. That's why I'm creating this mini series, because I don't want you to have that anxiety. I don't want you to worry and to freak out. I want you to know how to help your child be successful and what you can do to help your child transition successfully from high school to college. And so that's why we're going to be talking about 5 major things that I have found in working with families and talking to students. And it's surprising because it's not what you think it would normally be. So, next week, going forward, we're going to dive into this a little deeper, but we're going to talk about 3 reasons your kids struggle to make new friends. And so oftentimes what happens is in high school, your kid has friends, they have their clique, they have their group, they have their peers. So your child feels really comfortable, and it's easy for your child to thrive when they're comfortable because they seem like they have a social life, they're going out. College is not everybody goes to the same college or has the same major. And so what happens is kids end up oftentimes hanging out with people who are like them. And so when they go to a new school, well, my old friends are now hanging out with new people. Like, how do I make friends? They just feel really insecure and they feel like, how do I make new friends? What do I talk about? What do I do? Where do I go? They have all this freedom they're not used to because in high school you're told what to do, when to do, and how to do it. You're restricted as to when you can and can't go to the bathroom. Versus college, you have all this freedom, and they're not really quite sure how to handle it or what to do with it. And kids end up slipping through the cracks really easily. And a lot of times they just feel lonely because they don't know how to make new friends. And so we'll be discussing that and diving that into that much deeper in regards to 3 reasons why your kid struggles to make new friends. We'll also be going forward and discussing in more detail the real reason your kid suffers from low self-esteem. And this is something I think is interesting because when I talk to parents, parents will often have one concern. And then when I talk to the kid about the same situation, it's very different. It's amazing how the 2 stories are different. So I'll give you an example. I was talking to a father and he's like, my kid just, he's super smart. He went to college and he's not going to school full time. He's working part time. He's not working. And he's like, I'm concerned my kid's going to be 30 years old, staying at home, no ambition. He's not going to get a job. He doesn't know what he wants to do. He's going to a JC college. Like, what do I do? Like, my kid suffers from self-esteem. He's had some trouble in the past as far as like school and not doing well. And like, what do I do? And then it was interesting because I talked to the kid and it was like, are you the same person? Like, are you sure your dad was talking about you? Because you seem like completely, wow. This kid was on track. He had explored careers. He knew what he was going to do. He had talked to several people who were in the career field that he wanted to go to. He had received lots of advice, and he was headed on the right track. So I'm like, okay, so why is your dad so worried about you? He's like, because I have low self-esteem. I'm like, well, why do you have low self-esteem? He's like, because I'm in college and I want to work and I'm trying to get a part-time job and I'm really struggling. I'm like, okay, well, why are you struggling? And it just turned out through a conversation that this kid had normal hopes and dreams of wanting to have some extra pocket change to have money to go spend with friends and to go do things. And just no one had ever taken the time to help him understand the interview process and how do you get a part-time job and what do you do? Because when he was in high school, he wasn't doing any of that. He struggled with the school system and the way it was set up and ended up going on independent study where he did better. And so when he was in school, he was just focusing on getting through school and doing well, that he never had a job. And when he did have a job, he was working with his dad, and he didn't consider that a real job. So he's like, I don't have any experience. He didn't have to go through a formal interview process in order to work with his dad. He wasn't quite sure what the resume process was. And I mean, it was just all these life skills that he had never been taught in school, and he didn't think that he qualified. He's like, well, he just struggled, like, I know I can do the job, I know I'm good, but they won't give me a chance, and I don't know what's going on. And that's one of the things he kept telling me about the interview process. He's like, I get some interviews and I just don't know what's happening, and I just don't know what to say, and I just don't know what to do, and I don't understand why I'm not making it to the next process. And so he was internalizing everything, thinking he's not good enough, when the reality is no one had ever taught him the skills that he needed. So we'll be discussing this more. And I'll be handing you some tips and tricks as far as what to do moving forward so that your child doesn't run into the same challenges. We'll also be discussing, does your kid struggle? This is really, really big, and it really surprises me because I've heard this come up over and over and over again, particularly from mothers. And I think it's part of it is they're just frustrated because they're like, I want my kid to talk to me, and they don't. Like, I don't know what's going on with my kid. Like, everything looks good on the outside. I can tell they have down days because they look like they have this little gray cloud hanging around them when they're just like bummed out. But like, I don't know what to say. Like, I'll ask my kid, like, what's going on? Oh, stuff, bummed out, life sucks, whatever. They're like, come on, talk to me. Like, how do they parents don't know what to do. And so oftentimes what happens is the kid bottles it up inside, and then the parents just watching their kid on this roller coaster ride of their emotions. And the parent doesn't know what to do because they're like, well, I don't have that relationship with my child, and I don't know how to do that because when I talk to them, I get these short little one-word answers, or they don't want to open up and talk to me, or it's, I'm their parent, they don't want to talk to me because it's not cool and I don't know what to do. And so then the parents get frustrated because you don't know what to do and you're trying to reach out to your kid and your kid doesn't seem very receptive to your help. End up struggling and shutting down. And I've talked to a lot of kids who are like, yeah, I struggle with my emotions. I just get overwhelmed and it's just like, is it even worth it? And then I shut down. And these are kids who are getting good grades, they're smart, and they're just struggling with life's challenges. They're coming up in the way. And so what happens is they might be going to school and then they have, their first major breakup with, a girlfriend they're dating or a boyfriend or something happens and they're like, how do I stay focused on school? Like, I keep thinking about this person, or, I'm having challenges in this class because of my teacher and I just don't know what to do, or how do I get through it? And, just being able to talk to other students and being able to say, hey, I really struggled with this lesson. Can I see your notes? Did you get this concept? It goes back to the social skills and them not having those social skills to connect with other students. So then it makes it even harder for them to stay focused on their academics. And that's just when they enter into this downward spiral and they just go downward. Which is why it's really important for your child to hang out with other kids who are ambitious and going forward with their career, because then they provide that support group. It's not just emotionally, but it's like, I know the emotions can get the best of you, but you still got to go to class. You still need to, do your assignments and turn in your homework. You still need to work through it because that's part of being an adult and being responsible and following through. And so when your kid hangs out with those kids, they're not alone because they're like, oh, that kid gets me. Like, I'm not the only one who's struggling with this. And that goes back to emotions. Like, a lot of times we don't talk about how do you handle your emotions, but we all have them. So this is a really surprising topic that has come up over and over and over again in regards to, does your kid struggle with their emotions? So I'm going to be diving into this a lot deeper, and we'll be talking about some tips and tricks to help your child. The other thing we'll be discussing is, does your child have non-supportive friends? And I find that this comes up frequently, and that a lot of times parents in the beginning, people become friends and they're just like, oh, yay, my kid's like going to school, making new friends, they have the same interests, like, oh, that's cool. And then it's much later that they end up finding out, like, oh, that person's not really supportive. And it's hard because a lot of times non-supportive doesn't mean just coming out and saying like you're dumb or you're stupid or you're this or you're that. A lot of times it comes out, there's good times and hard times. And during the hard times, you find out who's not being supportive, and you're already having a hard time. And you're like, wait, you're not going to be there for me? Or you said what? And it's just like kids, it's amazing how many people are non-supportive. And I think a lot of it is just people aren't used to having support, so they don't know how to give support. Or they come from a family that's very dysfunctional, and they're not aware that some of the behaviors that they're behaving is dysfunctional. And so then they keep projecting that onto your child, and then your child sees that dysfunctional behavior as normal or natural and then gets comfortable with it. And then when someone has a healthy attitude or personality, your kid's like, whoa, that's kind of weird, because they're hanging out with all these people who have um, see things in a dysfunctional manner or are comfortable with the drama. And I see that a lot with kids. Kids are like, oh, these kids are there's so much freaking drama. Like, really? Come on. Like, I'm trying to focus on school or my academics and all this drama. And then they complain about it, but they don't know what to do about it. And they don't realize how they keep inviting it into their life because that's what they're comfortable with. So when someone comes up and talks to them about like, hey, this is really bothering me, you have a couple minutes, maybe we can chit chat about it. Like, that kind of freaks them out. Like, whoa, that's not normal. This must be something serious. Versus kids who are like, oh yeah, like definitely, like, yeah, let's get together and talk about it at lunch. And it could be just a simple misunderstanding. Like, hey, when you said this, like, it made me feel like that. And, I don't know if you meant this or if you meant that, or just the way you brought it up just made me feel uncomfortable. So I'd appreciate it if, maybe, next time in the past you can pull me aside versus saying something in front of a whole group of people. Like, things like that. There's just these little things. Kids are very social. They're very into like what peers think about them, and they're very concerned about what other people think. And so sometimes like kids, because it's easier to talk to their friend than it is to talk to you as a parent. And when their kids are non-supportive, then it can create a lot of challenge and a lot of resistance, because maybe their non-supportive friends aren't encouraging them to make good behaviors or good choices. And it's not just in terms of like drugs and this and that and all that other stuff, but a lot of it could be in like procrastinating, playing video games. Like, oh, you don't need to do your homework. Let's play video games for an extra hour or two. Some of these kids play video games 2 to 3 hours a day. And I'm like, really? You're thinking about your future. Like, what do you want to do? Like, you can cut back your video game time to half, still have a social life, but still be thinking forward about your future. And so again, it just goes back to the importance of having a community that supports your child, and your child hanging out with ambitious people. Kids that want to move forward. They don't have to be in the same career as them. They just have a certain mindset. They have an attitude about wanting to improve themselves, wanting to move forward. And it's fun to venture out and see what career opportunities are out there, or what mentorship opportunities or internship opportunities, or, be excited about being able to have a job and taking pride, because these kids do want to work. They do want to be successful. Your kid wants a social life. Your kid wants a lot of things, but just doesn't always have the skill set and the mentorship of someone leading by example or being a role model. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm super proud of what I do and why I enjoy it, because myself as a facilitator in creating a community where young people can come together and talk about their hopes, their dreams, their challenges, the roadblocks that are coming up, and then materials created for them where it's not just a course, but it's okay, here's some worksheets to help you understand, what the resume process is. And instead of you starting one from scratch, let's fill out this template with your experience. Let's get you started on the fast track. And let's get you involved in the community so that you're talking to your peers, so that you're role playing with someone who's a step ahead of you, who has a paid internship, who understands what it's like to be interviewed and struggle with those tough questions. You. So tell me a bit about yourself and why do you want to work here? Or, some of these basic interview questions that come up regardless of whether it's a scholarship interview, an internship interview, or a job. There's simple things that a lot of kids have never thought about. So when they come up against it, they struggle. And when they're involved in a community, it really helps them move forward because they feel like, okay, well, you were there not that long ago. How did you get through it? And that's the importance of a community. It provides that support. So I provide the tools and then I provide the support. I urge you to learn more about the community and to continue to watch these videos and audios and consume all this information that I'm putting out there so you can get to learn more about me and this community that we put together at Career Conversationalist. We do have different membership levels for at different levels depending upon how involved you want your kid to be, and I certainly encourage you to learn more and to start the career conversation with your child. A complimentary gift for you to help you start that conversation and keep it going. Conversation, it's not just something your child decides one day what they want to do. In order to help your child explore careers that's going to utilize their talents and abilities, it needs to be an ongoing conversation and it can be fun. And that's why I encourage you to start as soon as you can. And that's why I've created this complimentary gift for you. It's 7 ways to help your child select a relevant career regardless of what age your child is. And you can find it at 7waystohelp.com. So I encourage you to go there now. It's 7 questions that you can ask your child to help you have an ongoing career. And then I encourage you to continue to open up the emails. You'll get some welcome emails so you'll better understand more about the community, what we stand for, the type of people that we attract, and see if it's something that you want your kid to be involved in. Go to 7waystohelp.com, select get your complimentary gift, and then continue to open up those emails and become part of the community. So thank you so much for your time. I look forward to our paths crossing again soon.